365 districts in Afghanistan. The capital of Afghanistan is Kabul, and also we had a flag red and black and green, and we have the Constitution of Afghanistan. I mean, the last constitution recognized 14 ethnic groups in Afghanistan, and 4 of them are very major, and also the majority. So Uzbek, Pashtun, and Hazara is the ethnic group that are in Afghanistan. This is the flag of Afghanistan that we used before the fall of the Kabul. So this was our flag, and still we use that one. But the Taliban, when they came to power, they changed this flag to the right one. And the other one that you see, this is the presidential place in Afghanistan, and in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. We have a very beautiful country, and also it's very natural. We have 4 seasons, and the country is surrounded by the mountains and also rivers. So it's very natural and very beautiful country, but now because of some security issues and also because of the Taliban came, I encourage all of you when the situation gets better to go Afghanistan and also discover this country and see it, and also learn more about Afghanistan because of the history that we have, 5,000 years history, and different empires in Afghanistan and different situations, different regime came in power in Afghanistan. So I hope one day you can go here and also see the beauty of Afghanistan. So now I want to talk regarding human rights and also women's rights in Afghanistan, but my main focus is about gender inequality in Afghanistan in 3 different periods of history. And I would like to talk regarding the first regime of Taliban when they came to power and how was the situation of human rights in Afghanistan. And also I will talk regarding women's rights and human rights and development of human rights and women's rights after the first collapse of Taliban regime, and then back to 2021 when the Taliban came to power again in August 15, 2021. So the first regime of Taliban, when the United States supported Mujahideen, there was a group that they fight with Soviet Union. The Taliban got power and also came to the Kabul and also got all of around the country. And that was, there was civil war in Afghanistan, 3 groups that was in there, so they fight each other. So in the north of the country, there was Dostum, and the other one was Ahmad Shah Massoud. I'm sure that you know he is in the history as well as a hero. And capital of Afghanistan, Kabul, was remained as a Taliban places. When the Taliban came to power, the first thing that they started to political killing, and especially the first and immediate action that was to killing former president Dr. Najibullah, who was the Secretary of Police Secretary during Soviet Union, and also the President of Afghanistan in 1996, 92 to 92. So the other thing that the Taliban did was they killed some member of councils in Nangarhar and also the other opposition that was in Afghanistan. And they killed President Dr. Najibullah with his brother, and they hanged up for 2 days in Kabul and to show the people and also to see the situation and to just spread like the fairness and also to scare the people to see to not the other people that dare to go and also stand against them. So when the Taliban got power in the first regime, they started new ruling and also new procedures and also radical Islamic ideology in Afghanistan, and most of these rules was against the women's rights and also violation of human rights in Afghanistan. So when the Taliban took power, everything was regarding the women in Afghanistan. In that time, they first ruled and issued a decree that no woman have the right to go outside. So they banned all of the women to stay at home, and also no woman can go outside or work, and also it was mandatory for them to stay at home. And if a woman want to go outside, it was a necessity to be a male chaperone. We call it mahram. like a brother or husband or a son, they have to have one of the male chaperone with themselves. The otherwise, they also told the people to not, especially to the women, to not go to outside without any necessity. So if a woman wanted to go outside, there was a new rule regarding Islamic hijab, burqa, and it was the full cover faces, like we call it chadri, and I will show you the next slides about the pictures. So it was mandatory for the women to use that. And that time, 40,000 women was in civil servants and worked in different part of institution, and also they were teachers. So they appealed against the Taliban decree, and the Taliban beating them and also hurting them, and they told they will pay their salaries even if they are in the house. But the Taliban didn't pay anything, because all of these women was the feeder of the house, and also the poverty was a lot in Afghanistan, and also civil war was in Afghanistan. The situation was really worse for women and children. So the Taliban also said no one can go alone or travel outside of the country, or if they want, it was mandatory to be with a mahram, not like just alone. Violation against women was a lot in Afghanistan in that time, and forced marriage and early marriage increased day by day. And some of the families, and especially the women, was forced by the Taliban members to marry with their members, and some of families, they refused to do that. So they sent their daughters to Pakistan or other countries, and some of male relatives, they killed their daughters instead of giving them to the Taliban members. So because there was a lack of female doctors and also nurses in Afghanistan, and also the Taliban banned women to go to work, it was very hard, and also the rate of mortality rate increased day by day. So the United Nations and also other countries convinced the Taliban in the first regime to let the female doctors to go to hospitals. And again, there was another rule by the Taliban that female doctors was not allowed to see male patients, and also male doctors was not allowed to see a female. But at some of the male person, the men who the doctors had the clinics, they allowed to see a woman patients with his husband or brother. So they were not allowed to see a female patients without their mahrams. The other thing was the violation of human rights in Afghanistan was regarding adultery. So if a woman have a relation with a man, like illegal relations, so they were stoned by the Taliban in Ghazi Stadium, and many women they did. The other case that was happening in Afghanistan was regarding education, that in that time in Afghanistan, and especially in Kabul, there was 158 public schools, and most of them, and also women and also girls and also boys were in that school. So they deprived girls to go to education, and also they remained women at home. In that time, there was 8,000 female teachers in Afghanistan, but all of them ordered to be at home, and all the schools for the girls was closed, and no girls and also women has the right to go to education or university or school. And this was there was no justice and access to justice or independent judiciary in that time. So many of the women who faced domestic violence and also complaint against their families or anything, so they referred to the informal justice. And informal justice was kind of in favor of the male, of course, because of the culture and also the male-dominated country and also conservative situation in Afghanistan. When the Taliban got power in 1996, so they started another ruling regarding human rights as well, a violation of human rights. The first thing that was, there was no judiciary and independent judiciary system in Afghanistan. So if a person stole anything, even a glass or something from the house or the market or anything, So the thieves was punished by cutting their hand and also their foot. It was in public area. In some areas that we saw was they put black color in the face of the thieves, and also they put them in a donkey and also ran in all around the city and showed to the people like it was a punishment for them to see all of the people what he did. So because of the security and also because of the situation in Afghanistan and civil war in Afghanistan, 2.4 million of people decided to flee from Afghanistan and also left the country. In that time, Afghanistan was the second largest refugee in the world. And also because of the, there was no money, no companies work, and also the economic went to zero. So most of the family and even the people who were so educated, they went to agriculture area and been like a farmer. So in that time, in Afghanistan, the opium copy was increased, and Afghanistan was the second largest producer of opium in all the world. And not Taliban, they didn't have any problem with that, and they were agree with the opium. So torture was another thing that was very openly happened when the Taliban was in power in 1996. Taliban, when they arrest opposition and also any member of other groups like Ahmad Shah Massoud or Dostum, so they put a lot of torture to get information from them, and it was 300 and more than. When they came to power, they freed all of the prisoners from the prison, and then they got 1,000 other people and put them in the jail. So when they were in the jail, in the prison, there was no food for them. So the relatives of the prisoners was accountable to bring them in 1 or 2 in a week the food. But for those of prisoners who didn't have relatives in Kabul or other areas, some of the intimate or public council was responsible for their food and also to provide some other things for them. Arbitrarily, as there was no confirmation from the court to go house and also search for anything or evidence, and also there was no procedure for police code and anything in Afghanistan. So it was different from locality to locality. Authorities in some areas, the Taliban member went to house during the night, during the day, and they searched, and also they wanted to have evidence to see if any person against them and also what they want to take them. And it was 1,000 people they got it, and during the first day when they came in power, and also they killed many people, others, the first day that they took powers. There was no rule of law, there was no constitution in Afghanistan or any other institution to work regarding human rights, because the Taliban didn't allow other organizations to come in Afghanistan and also investigate about the crimes that they did, and also to make reports regarding human rights in Afghanistan. All of the NGOs who work regarding reports to United Nations, they were in Pakistan and they made reports regarding Afghanistan from there, because the Taliban didn't allow them to come and also to make a report. There was no freedom of speech because there was no constitution to recognize freedom of speech. So in that time, there was just one radio and television during Rabbani, and a former president of Afghanistan. But when he fled to the north of Afghanistan, when the Taliban got it, they changed the name of radio, the voice of Shariat. And then the Taliban banned music, theater, cinema, movies, anything regarding entertainment. So the people, they were not allowed to have television in their houses. So all of the people, they just had radio, and also everything was censored from them. And also the media has not the right to publish anything against the Taliban, because there was one radio, and also in some provinces they had also radio, but they just reported those news that was regarding Taliban and benefit of Taliban. Some international journalists came in Afghanistan to make a report regarding human rights and also women's rights. And at the first press conference, there was a Western woman, female journalist, and she wanted to attend in that place, but the Taliban didn't allow her to attend the press conference. Two other Argentine reporters came to Afghanistan, and also they had interview with some women. When the Taliban observed and also find that they got the two Argentine journalists and detained them for 24 hours and also beaten them. So it was like there was no freedom of speech and also no freedom of assembly, because the people, the government of the representative of government of Taliban not allowed people to go to the street and also demonstrate or protest against them. So there was no freedom. There was freedom of movement, but because of security issues, like 10 million of lands was surrounded by mines, so it was unable for people to go around, and also if many of the people they got injured and also lost their some part of their bodies because of the mines. So there was no political rights, like you have the right to vote now. And you can change your government, but during the first regime of Taliban, there was no constitution and nothing. Like there was just the leader of them, and he put it the decree, and also he was responsible for everything. And the people and the citizens, they didn't have the right to change the government or election or anything regarding political rights. So there was a lot of discrimination against minorities in Afghanistan. We had 50,000 Hindu or Sikh in Afghanistan in that time, and also we had Shia for like Islamic. We have Sunni and also Shia. So Shia is also minorities in Afghanistan, because in that time 85% of the citizen and also majority was Sunni. So in some places the people they didn't have the right of freedom of religion. Like the Taliban obliged the people to go to the mosque 5 times in the mosque, and it was mandatory. Even if you prayed in your house or in your shop or anything, you have to do that again when the Taliban wanted during like the prayer time. And some places, because of Shia, they practice something else of Islamic praise. So the Taliban forced them to practice and also pray the same like the Sunni people once, and even Ismaili people. So it was a kind of, there was no freedom of religion and nothing. For the men side, also the Taliban forced the men to not wear jeans or tie that we have like in Sweden, American as you wear now. So the women, the men, they didn't have the right to choose their dress, and so they also asked to wear traditional clothes, Afghani clothes, and have hat as well. And also the Taliban stopped men, and also they just wanted to see how many centigrade you have the bears. So if the people shave the bears, there was punishment for the men as well. It was mandatory to have the bears as well, in Afghanistan. So this was the situation in 1996 in Afghanistan, and now I just want to tell you about human rights and also women's rights, and after the first regime of Taliban in 2001. As you know, what happened 11th of September in the United States, and also Taliban was in Afghanistan. So the Taliban allow some Al-Qaeda members to enter in Afghanistan, and also because of the United States asked them to remove this to other terrorist groups from Afghanistan, and Taliban refused that. Then the NATO and also the United States in that time, President George W. Bush was in here, and also they came in Afghanistan, and the first regime of Taliban collapsed in 2001. In this time, it was maybe the bright decades and also years for Afghanistan, and especially for the women of Afghanistan, because the United States came, and also President Karzai was appointed as a president for 6 months, and then for transitional government for 18 months, and then he also got the election and also been the president of Afghanistan for 2 terms. And this time, what happened in Afghanistan, Bonn Conference was in Germany, and all the political persons came and leaders came to the Bonn Conference and also talked to have a new government in Afghanistan. In this time, we see the government tried to have an organized constitution in Afghanistan, and they brought people Loyjirga. We had Loyjirga assembly in Afghanistan. So the people came around all the country, and also they wanted to decide about the constitution of Afghanistan, and also the constitution to organize the election and also branches of government. So the constitution was approved by 502 members of the Loyjirga or assembly. And then the constitution organized 3 branches, judiciary, executive, and legislative branches. So the president also the head of each branches. Constitution recognized all of the right and obligation of the citizen, like the freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and also right to privacy, assembly, or anything that you want. The media got in power, so it was very good in Afghanistan because we had male reporters, female reporters, and many NGOs came in Afghanistan to support human rights and also women's rights in Afghanistan. And the United States was also there, and also they support human rights. So regarding the right of privacy, like no one can enter in the house without the consent and also the permission of the court. So it was mandatory if anyone wants to go to, if a police wanted to go any house, so they have to have permission from the court. In that time, International Human Rights Declaration was also, Afghanistan was part of that and also accepted that. It came in power again, and also we got ratified CEDAW and ICCPR, and also other right of minorities was recognized in the Constitution of Afghanistan, and it was changed everything that we had in the first regime of Taliban. So this is the development of human rights in Afghanistan, that what happened in 2001 when the government changed and also the Taliban lost their regime in Afghanistan. First thing that happened was the establishment of Ministry of Women Affairs in Afghanistan. And it has offices in all provinces of Afghanistan. And also we had the first female candidate for the presidency, Masouda Jalal, as well. International establishment of Human Rights Commission in Afghanistan, and also we had women governor, we have women mayors in Afghanistan, and also all branches as a minister as well. Afghan women came in power more and more, and they also started education as well. I will talk later about that. And the other thing that happened, we had women police as well. And for the first time, we had female judges in the Judicial Council in Afghanistan. And also in that time, we had a specific deputy for elimination of violence against women and human rights in Attorney General Office of Afghanistan. So in that time, in 20 years, we had 240 female judges, and also 30% of Attorney General employees was Afghan women. So also there was some laws and also codes regarding women's rights, like elimination of violence against women, anti-harassment law, and also children law, media law, family law, work law, juvenile code also that happened, and also establishment of shelters, and also commission was in Afghanistan for women's rights and also for women activities. So this is the education rate that if we compare this one to before 2001, because at that time there was no education in Afghanistan, no schools. especially for the women. And after 2001, you can see like in 2019 we had 86% of secondary education was women. It was increased. And also you can see like for the population 1 million in 2001, and 2002 it was 8 million students, and almost 40% of them was girls in Afghanistan that they went to education and also got their universities and bachelor degrees and high school. This is the picture of students in Afghanistan, the primary education and high school and university that you see, and also the picture that I put here, the woman, the girl who got the first position in concours examination in all around the country. It shows how much the student and also the female student was encouraged and also was intelligent, and also they were thirsty of education and they know the impact of education, and also to be a doctor, engineer, and also to be build Afghanistan and future of Afghanistan. So after 20 years and the good years of Afghanistan ended in 15th of August in 2021. Again, the nightmare came and also destroyed all of the achievements regarding women's rights and human rights in Afghanistan. The Taliban came power in 15th of August because of the agreement with Doha, peace agreement, and unfortunately because of some other reasons that the president of Afghanistan flee from Afghanistan and also went to Doha, Uzbekistan, and then to Abu Dhabi. So thousands of people, because of we had the experience and also the situation before the first regime of Taliban wanted to flee again from Afghanistan and left the country. And I'm sure maybe some of them you saw the news, and also you can observe the situation, the airport situation in Afghanistan. Taliban started again search house to house and also find evidence and also arrest women leaders and also those people who work with the government, and especially those people who work with the United States. And according to their ideology, the people who work with the Western country, they are infidel and also they are like not Muslims. So the constitution, they destroyed the constitution that was ratified in 2004, and they said it doesn't work again because it came from the Western country and it is not because of our ideology and also Islamic ideology. And again, Taliban was the same people and ideology that they were in 1996. They haven't changed, and also they again restrict women's rights and also human rights in Afghanistan. And this is the report that I want to show you from 1 year ago, like from 1 year. This is the Women of Afghanistan. You can compare. This is the burqa that they mandatory in 1996. And now they want again the woman to wear the same thing, the same dress again. And you can see in 2022 and 1996, the Taliban beat the woman, and again they beat the woman in 2022. The same position and not changed, the same ideology. But the difference is that now the women who got education and they know about their rights, they are coming every day in the street and also protest the Taliban government. And they are not afraid, and they are not the women they were like 20 years ago. They know and they just want to stand and also struggle with the Taliban. You can see that one. Gender segregation. So the Taliban, the first that they came and they said no women are allowed to go to outside of the country, outside of the house. And also they said women's rights, like they removed women from public and also political lives. This is the one thing that they want. And if I say anything in short sentence, the Taliban just want the woman to be at home, not outside of the house. And they want women be as a slave, not more than that. And they don't recognize women's rights and also human rights, anything regarding that. And according to Global Gender Gap, Afghanistan got 156 out of 156 ranked and gender gap and also gender segregation, which is we are the last the last of the list, and also unfortunately it's a shame for the government of Taliban that they do in 2022 again. This is the picture, the Taliban that they want from the women. The first one, this is the university that you can see women and also men. This is like, they say the woman, the girl, and also the men, they cannot to be in one classroom. So they say they have to be separate. Because of lack of universities and also lack of classrooms, it was, and lack of professors, it's impossible for them. So they said if there's a classroom, they have to put something to separate them from each other. And you can see this is the situation. And the other thing that they want, this is the burqa one. They forced women to say they are in favor of Taliban. And it was mandatory because of the international, they want from international organization and also community to recognize them as a government. But this is what the Afghan people and also Afghan women that they don't want. Almost 90% of people of Afghanistan are in need of humanitarian assistance, and more than of them are women because they worked before in 20 years and also now they don't have the right and also the right to work. Education collapsed, and also now all of the secondary school is closed for the women, so they don't have the right to go to school, and all of the women, the girls, are deprived of school again after 20 years. So there is no freedom of movement. They require all of the women again not go to outside of the house. If they want to go outside at necessity, they have to have male children again. And also they say if anyone violates this order and also decree, there will be a punishment for the male relatives. And they again put the families and also male relatives dominating women's lives and also to interfere with the women's rights. And they say they have to, university must have to be segregated and also separated from each other. So the government of Taliban, all of the authorities are men, and also there is no woman in their cabinet, and they don't want that. And also there is just they allow the women and doctors and also nurses to go to work, but the teachers and professors, they are not allowed to go back to work. And they removed Ministry of Women Affairs and also Human Rights Commission, and instead of them they created Ministry of for propagation, virtue, and also prevention of vice. That it's very most powerful and also strong in the Taliban system, and also they can do anything that they want regarding women's rights. Women civil society, they fled from the country, and those who are remain and also organizations that they don't have any funds and or stopped working in Afghanistan. So as I mentioned, because of lack of doctors and also because lack of nurses, the health services also kind of collapsed. There is no medicine for them, for the women and also for all the people. And in some areas, because of the rate of violence and also discrimination in many areas, many of the male and also female lost their lives in Afghanistan. So the media that was the freedom of speech in Afghanistan doesn't work. All of the medias are under the control of Taliban again. And also they required the female journalists to put mask if they are in the program. The other thing that they want from all of them, 43% of the media stopped working in Afghanistan, and 84% of women journalists stopped working in Afghanistan. So you can see the rates and also the ranks that has happened in Afghanistan. So at the end, I just want to tell you one recommendation that I know I'm sure you will be the future leaders and also policymaker in your country and maybe other countries. So one thing that I want from all of you that advocate for women's rights in Afghanistan, and also also to invest in women's rights in Afghanistan and convince your country and also government to not leave Afghan women alone again, and also to not Afghan women be in jail again and as a slave live. And for those of Afghans who came your country, they are professionals and also specialized, and use them. And also if government want to make any policy regarding Afghanistan, it will be so helpful to put Afghan women on the table as well. Unfortunately, in Doha Agreement in 2017, when the President Trump started to withdraw United States soldiers from Afghanistan, but President Biden implemented these procedures. One thing that remained was they didn't include Afghan women in that agreement. So now the Taliban use again force all of their forces regarding women rights in Afghanistan to just put them in the house and not letting them to go to education. I want all of you to stand against them and also not convince your country to not recognize them as a government till they keep their commitments regarding women rights in Afghanistan. And maybe it should be a voice for the girls who are in Afghanistan to reopen the education system and also reopen the door of the school and to have opportunity to go back. I am one of those girls that I have the experience of not go to education in first regime of Taliban, and also have the experience of go to school and also got my master's degree from United States and go back Afghanistan to bring changes, and now I'm here again. So I want all of you to this opportunity happen to Afghanistan, and now that advocacy for women's rights in Afghanistan, not just Afghanistan, anywhere that they are in not in a good situation. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any question, I will be so happy to answer that.
You have questions for our speaker? Questions? Questions? I'm Palestinian, like David, and Muslim as well, and I was listening to your presentation. It kind of brought back the history of even Palestinians. My grandmothers went to college, didn't go to school. They were allowed to read or write, leave the house. And they were illiterate all the way up to they passed away. And it wasn't until my mom and dad generation they were allowed to even go to school. And right now, obviously, the Palestinian Intifada and all that. Even though we put rights in place, I'm getting the impression we're dealing with the same thing you all are dealing with. You have the rights, but really you don't.
Yes.
It's like you're doing it with the Taliban kind of still taking over, and the same thing with the Palestinian situation.
Yeah.
And I guess to me, it's being 2022 that women are still like this, living like this. It's mind-boggling. Because we had to fight through that, but the idea that they don't go to school, not allowed to leave the house, not allowed to work. Where do you see this going? We heard your recommendations, but in all reality, how long is the fight going to be before women can have rights in Afghanistan? Because right now it just looks like slavery.
Yes, it is. First of all, I want to say it is the way that the Taliban want to do and also doing in Afghanistan is not the same like the real Islam. So if we see and also study real Islam, the first verse of Quran is read and also encourage men and also women to come and also get educated. But the Taliban, the way that they want to do in Afghanistan and implement them is a conservative way, and also unfortunately they are uneducated people that they came power, and also the leaders of Afghanistan. They came from some Pakistan's madrasa mullahs. I don't know how to translate the mullahs. So mullahs, some scholars who just educated the radical ideology of Islam, not the real Islam, and they didn't know anything regarding international relation. They don't know about international human rights or human rights, women's rights, anything about these things. They just want to implement something just to ban women in a home and also not allow them to go outside. The reason is because they are afraid. They are afraid if the woman came in forward, if the women know, they will know and change the society. Nowadays that we want to do that. But according to, back to your question, unfortunately, this is the situation, as I mentioned, like a slavery in Afghanistan. The recommendation that I am saying here is because international community has the power to change the situation, and United States has the power to change the situation. I'm not sure that the United States go back and also fight against the Taliban, but because what happened like 1 month or more than 1 month ago in Afghanistan, they put other terrorist groups in Afghanistan, like Ayman al-Zawahiri was like the United States says they killed him like 1 month ago. He was also a member of Al-Qaeda. If international community not pay attention to the Afghanistan, they will use Afghanistan against other countries. And they will do the same attacks that they happened in 11 of September, maybe to United States or other countries. So they are a threat for other countries. So because of to prevent retreat to your country or other country, they have to do anything regarding against the Taliban.
Last question. Afghanistan is our own country, older than the United States, more civilized than the United States, way before the United States. And yet exists, what's the foundation for the laws of your country? What's the foundation? There gotta be some basis why the laws, they govern like that. Is there some historical foundation for that?
Yeah, Islamic. Because we are a Muslim country and all of the laws and also every institution that is bases the Islamic law, Quran. And everything is ensured from Sharia. So we are an Islamic country. And the other thing, nowadays everything is destroyed, even we don't have the constitution that we said it's based on Islam. And also we don't have an independent judiciary now. They remove prosecutors from their jobs. They remove judges from their jobs, and they brought new people. They don't know anything about the law, and also even they don't know about Islamic law, like how to implement that. So this is kind of just uneducated groups and terrorist groups that came in power and just did like more than 40 million of people, and no one pay attention for that because they kept all of the people silent. They are a repressive government, so nothing like to do that.
And the second question, a lot of countries have tried to dominate Afghanistan over the years and never achieve power in Afghanistan. They always come back and regain authority and power. So I think America can do that, come back and change people within themselves. I think that change got to come from within the people themselves. The old nation, Russia tried it, all kinds of tried, but never, Afghanistan always seems to rise back to the occasion and take power. So from my perspective, that change maybe come from within the country themselves, not the outside entity who don't know anything about the culture or the people of thinking. So I don't get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I think it depends to how to define, like, the other countries couldn't achieve, like, their goals in Afghanistan. If we talk about Soviet Union, because they wanted to implement communist in Afghanistan ideas, and it was against the ideology of the people of Afghanistan, the belief of Afghanistan. So because of that, and if we say the United States, I think it was the decision of President Trump in 2017, because he looked in Afghanistan as a economic strategy than, like, the political strategy. So he said, like, it's my perspective. I think he thought with himself, say, okay, we like spending millions of dollars in Afghanistan without achieving anything to your country. So he decided, like, to cut that and also stop that. But I think he didn't realize about the China's powers, like what happened to Ukraine is the result of Afghanistan now. If the United States was in Afghanistan, I don't think, like, Russia will attack to Ukraine, and also the China's, like, getting more power in power. So this is like kind of different perspective if we see regarding the other countries. But I'm completely agree with you because it depends to the people to change their countries. But we have a problem with our neighbors, like Pakistan. Pakistan interfere in all of the times, and they are in support of Taliban. And they gave them guns and all of the weapons and anything to go Afghanistan and also to fight. So this is the problem with them. And Afghanistan, we don't have a lot of economy or the black country. And the people change in 20 years. I'm the result of that today I'm speaking here. And also the other women who are in Afghanistan, they are coming in front line in the street and also protest against the Taliban government. And the people, they don't want the Taliban as well, but we don't have like, the weapons or anything to stand with them. And also Panjshir province was the example of a stand against the Taliban. But what happened, like the Pakistan sent their airplanes and aircraft to Panjshir and also to stop people and also killed many of the people. It was like kind of genocide. And every day in Afghanistan is explosion and suicide attack. Even last week there was a suicide attack, more than 55 girls killed in that place, and also more than 100 people was injured. So this is the situation that we are facing with them, and also it's very hard to struggle alone. So I think it's better to because United States has the experience and also to come back Afghanistan or to convince the Taliban to change or make pressure on them, not recognize them as a Taliban, not give them a stage for them to come in international countries and also to talk about their ideas. Kind of sanction the Taliban. If we do that, I'm sure they have to bring some changes because they know Afghanistan changed, the people changed. They are not the same 20 years ago.
One last question. What is the sentiment among Afghan women? The United States abandoned the country. We can't abandon the country, just give up and take ground and leave stuff and get out of the country. And so you got to deal with it.